My favorite genre of video is man gets on the internet and confirms all of our worst fears as women and confirms that everything we think about them is true and confirms that everything that they think about us is a projection. Let's break it down. And I mean, they really get on the internet and tell on themselves every single day, every single day. They put out some dumbass video like this where it's supposed to be like cute, funny, endearing, educational even or whatever. And all they end up doing is confirming that women should be exactly as afraid of men as they are. This is actually crazy because men have spent so much time and so many years talking about how women are gold diggers, they're resource motivated, they put men in categories, they just go for the top 5% of men. And, it's so messed up. And how are men supposed to respect women when women act like this? And then this man goes and posts a video very seriously talking about the categories that men put women in. And explaining all the categories like most girls don't know this. First of all, we absolutely do. First of all, women absolutely know this. This is why as women have come into their own education, their own resources, being able to live independently, this is why they're staying the fuck away from y'all, because this is what we are to you. And yes, you guys can see the video. Let's watch it together.
Either a bitch, a shorty, a baddie, or a wifey. And you can't be a bitch and a wifey. And you can't be a shorty and a baddie. You know what I'm saying?
What's a shorty?
You can be a baddie and a wifey.
What's a shorty?
A shorty is a girl who isn't a bitch, but she cool. You know what I'm saying? So a baddie is like a girl who's, really pretty, but she ain't wifey material. And then a bitch, well, you know what a bitch is. Any girl can be a bitch, but not every girl is a bitch.
Are you finna amend it too?
No, I'm not doing a man one. Okay? Now, baby, you are a wifey. Because first day, you let me use your car.
I'm so dead. I did not let you use my car. We went and got food together.
But you let me drive.
So unsurprisingly, he actually does a really piss poor job of even explaining what these things mean. So I am going to have to go in after him now and explain to you what he actually means by these terms, okay? So when he's saying stuff like you can't be a bitch and a wifey, the reason for that is because bitch actually means any woman that does not like these men, that these men also don't want to impress. This is a woman that's not living for the male gaze. This is always what the word bitch means. It's a woman who is not living for the male gaze or for this particular man's gaze. She's not trying to impress him, and she's got nothing that he wants. Men do not see these women as human beings. So if you are just out here living your life and you have nothing that a man wants, right, which is cooking and cleaning skills that you're willing to give out freely, you're not willing to go 50-50 on bills, not interested in impressing men, or particularly this man, then you are just a bitch. This could be because this man is not like physically attracted to you. It could be because he is physically attracted to you, but he realizes you're not going to do stuff for him. This can also be women that just don't participate in like male gazy things to begin with. Like these are women that don't go out of their way to meet the beauty standard. This is oftentimes a bitch as well. These are also women that have more power than these men, right? And are not willing to give it up for a man. They're not willing to make themselves smaller for a man. That's a bitch, okay? A shorty is a pick-me, which men also don't want. So bitch and shorty, they're underneath this line. And this man does not say this explicitly, but that's because they're in the category of women that men don't want. So a shorty is like nice enough. She is a pick-me. She is living for the male gaze. She realizes that men don't have empathy towards her inherently. And so she's going to have to earn it. And so she becomes a pick-me, right? That's a shorty. Like she's one of the guys, but when another woman is around, she's also used to triangulate. Or she's kind of seen as like a throwaway, like you can sort of throw her overboard if things end up going wrong, right? It's just like extra weight on a boat. At the moment you found like your wifey or whatever, like you don't need the shorty anymore unless you needed to bring her in to triangulate a situation. But shorty and bitch are the women that men don't want. Then we get up into the category of women that men do want. And this is where we meet the baddie. The reason that baddie and wifey are up here in this category together is because they are both considered to be desirable by men. So this is the category that's not desirable by men. And he says any woman can be a bitch, and that's very true. But he says not all women are. But any woman can be a bitch. You can absolutely drop from the wifey, baddie, shorty category down to the bitch category, depending on, again, how you interact with the men that are deciding this system. I mean, we've all seen those like text message exchanges where the guy's like super into the woman at first. He's like you're so beautiful, you're so pretty, please let me talk to you, let me get your number, let me date you, whatever. And she's like, no. And he's like, oh, you're just a stupid, ugly bitch. Because all of this is really just the male gaze. It's kind of like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. It's the same kind of dilemma, right? Men do not want a woman who's not at all concerned with impressing them or fitting into the male gaze. But they also don't want a woman who is like really obsessed with fitting into the male gaze because it's not enough of a challenge. Like, it's not going to impress their boys. They don't want either of these women. And the deal with the baddie is that a baddie is a woman who knows her worth, but is also catering to the male gaze, but in a different way than the shorty, right? The baddie is catering to the male gaze, as in she's expensive, she's unattainable, she is high maintenance, right? And this is men's favorite type of woman, right? They don't care for the shorties, the bitches, even the wifeys. They care about the baddie. That's who they want to impress. That's who they want to have on their arm. That's who they want all their friends to be thinking about them, you know, going to bed with at night. This is what men really, 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 really want. That's why a shorty can't be a baddie, because it's not just about wanting the male gaze and the male approval. It's also about knowing your worth. The shorty makes it too easy and the bitch makes it too hard. The wife and the baddie are just right. They're just right. The problem is, in order to get with a baddie, you usually need resources. Most baddies are not out there trying to give it all up for free because they have a lot of takers. They have a lot of options. And so in order to be the most attractive option, you have to have money. You have to have a car. You have to have a place of your own. You have to have a good career, a good job, right? Well, who's going to help you get those things? It's the wifey, right? It's not the shorty. The shorty just loves you as you are, right? The bitch, she doesn't like you at all. She can care less about you. The shorty wants to love you as you are, which as the man, you know is a worthless, pathetic pursuit for her because you're not shit. You need a wifey to help you get the baddie. And I hope you guys heard that. I hope you guys caught that, because he said to his wife, you were wifey material. You let me take your car. You let me drive your car on the first date. He wouldn't look like a loser getting out of a car that a woman drove. This is the same guy that's going to want to use your card to pay for dinner. He's going to want you to slide it to him under the table or give it to him beforehand so that he can look like he's the one that's paying for it, but he's using your money. He looks like he's the one that's driving you to the date, but he's driving you in your car. It looks like he has a house, apartment, whatever, but he only has that because you pay half the bills or because it was yours when he got there, because he moved in with you. But all of those things are going to make him attractive to a baddie. Being able to save 50% of his income, splitting bills with a wifey type, being able to get ahead in his career, because again, the wifey type is usually an earnest, hardworking, good woman who's just simply not calculated like a baddie is. She's also not quite as useless as a shorty, right? Again, a shorty's never going to push you to be your maximum, like, potential, like, whatever, right? That's only going to be a wifey or a baddie. And the baddie is not going to stick around while you get yourself together, but a wifey will. That's the difference. That's the difference between a wifey and a baddie, and why they're both desirable in their own respects to men. But just know, ladies, if a man ever calls you the wifey type, he's planning, plotting, and scheming on you. He wants to step into your shoes and he wants to live your life, and he wants you to become the loser that he is, so that he can take all of your good energy, all of the things you're going to do for him. He can take 50% of your income and build himself up so he can go find himself a baddie. That's it. That's all there is to it. Men get on the internet and tell on themselves every day. You just have to listen. And trust me, you'd rather be a bitch than be a wifey. Must have been terrible hearing that, like, oh, you're a wifey type because you let me drive your car. Because you were aware that I'm not the man that maybe I possibly could be, right? You're aware that I'm not reaching my potential, but you see that potential, and I like that. Because you're going to help me, right? You're going to help me unearth that potential and then make myself valuable to a baddie. This is why men divorce their starter wife, because she was wifey material. Yeah, maybe she wasn't a bitch or a pygmy. She was wifey material, and she helped him get to the level of a man where he could bag a baddie. Because that is what men really, really, really want. They want the woman that's unattainable to them and to all of their loser friends, but they know they can't get her on their own. So they need a wifey. That's why you can't be a wifey and a bitch at the same time. Because you have to think somewhere in your heart of hearts that this man is worth shit, that this man has potential. And that's why you can't be a shorty and a baddie at the same time, because one of these women knows their value and the other doesn't. She's just out there giving it up for free. Baddie knows that she has that all the time. It's not special to her. What's special to her is resources, status, all of those things, which men really overlap with baddies on, because that's what's important to them. Again, this is actually the most desirable category for men, which I'm not saying that's what you need to be, because again, men's opinions ain't shit. But a baddie has figured out how to carry herself in a way where she is calculated. She's actually able to extract value out of men. The wifey is the opposite, in the sense that she helps to bring value that men extract from her. And then once again, they take it to the baddie. And you may be thinking, like, no, this is not true. Men hate transactional women. No, they really like having transactional relationships with women, but only ones where they have the leg up. They only want the wifey as long as they can hold love over her head. And then as soon as they're ready to level up and graduate to a baddie and tell her, okay, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to do this, 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 and this for you, but I'm going to hold it over your head. Both of which are transactional relationships. So don't be fooled, ladies. Men are all about the transactional relationships. All about it. They just don't want you to catch on to that and to start treating them accordingly. And baddies are the only ones that have figured that out. Right, I hope this helps. Stay safe out there, ladies. I'd rather be a bitch than a wifey any day. Godspeed, y'all.